Welcome to the California Bros Podcast. I'm your host, Terrence. With me is my co-host, Jason, calling in from the Batcave in Indianapolis. Jason, how are you, my good man?
Hey, man, you know what it is, what it do, baby. It's that time of the week. It's California Bros time, so I'm always fired up and ready to go for it. Got 3 good topics for you. Once again, let's get into it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for listening. This is episode 74 of the California Bros Podcast. Funny yet initiated, California Bros is the podcast to hear. We are a weekly podcast for fans of sports, current events, and entertainment.
And as always, we are your hosts, Terrence and Jason, and every single Thursday we come to you with a brand new episode where we discuss the current events of the day, sports, and the athletes we love.
And some of the ones we loathe. No matter the topic, you can expect a brutally honest and fun exchange of snark while learning through the lens of our 30 years of friendship that originated in Calumet Park, Illinois.
And folks, for more California Bros content, make sure you connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok under the handle Cal Park Bros or Cal Park Bros Podcast for more behind the scenes of the show and just engage with us every single day. But do not forget that the Cal Park Bros Podcast is available to listen and subscribe for free wherever you listen to podcasts. Give us free.
Like us, love us, share us, follow us. And folks, if you like us, hell, why wouldn't you?
That's right, folks. Like Terrence always says, we are the podcast to hear and watch to make sure you're living it, loving it, and doing it.
Okay, we're going to get into it. It's a major event for a lot of people. For a lot of reasons. We are going to kick off the show talking about the death of Queen Elizabeth, Jason. Now, what's interesting is because I'm working on another major project in my life. When that news broke, I really didn't have a chance to really engage on social media. But some of my initial thoughts were there is sure as hell going to be 2 schools of thought when it comes to not schools of thought, but definitely 2 camps, right? When it comes to Queen Elizabeth's death. And my first thought was, okay, well, the first camp is people obsessed with celebrity or the royal family in general. And they hang on every update about the royal family or about celebrities. And fixating on the fact that, there is going to be a change in this royal family with her death. And then there's another school of thought altogether, which is people who just outright don't understand the obsession and the affinity with the royal family, to the point they were almost lampooning the other camp. Would you say that's a fair assessment, Jason?
I would agree that's very more than fair.
Now, I got a follow-up question. Which camp do you reside in, or would you say you gravitate towards one of those other camps more than the other?
I would say I gravitate towards neither, and I'm in neither camp. And that may not be the best answer for the show, but it's being real. I'm not someone who's into celebrities like that, whether it be from this country or otherwise, whether they be true celebrities or just fake ones like royalty people from another country, what have you. I'd say neither. I'd imagine probably when I was a lot younger, a lot more ignorant, I probably, had more of a, I don't want to say fascination with the royal family, but more of, we'll say, an interest in it. But then I grew up. And that's not to offend anybody that does feel some type of way towards the family. Because I get it. Like you said, in this country we call the United States of America, we have a thing for celebrities. Whether you're famous for doing something or famous for doing nothing, i.e. Kardashians, or if you're just having your royal family from another country that has nothing to do with us in the first place. But yeah, definitely 2 camps are correct. Now, I did see most of which was a lot of, not support, but a lot of people doing the whole RIP, putting out the pictures of her that show her, her birth year, obviously her end year. And surprisingly enough, which kind of makes sense. So now obviously on social media, I'm sure you're the case. A lot of people that I'm friends with, people that we went to high school with. So around our same age, And back in the 80s and maybe some early 90s, they were all about the royal family. Back when like Princess Diana in particular, she was the celebrity of the family. Um, not, not to say that none of them had either other fame in this country, but she helped that royal family get the exposure here in this country, including the Queen. All the different movies that jokingly referenced the Queen, the Naked Gun movie series. I think it was the first one, maybe the second one. All the references to that, we knew who she was. So when you're seeing 40 something year old individuals, let alone 40-year old something black individuals, saying, "Hey, rest in peace to the Queen," it's kind of interesting to look at it that way. And again, not to say that they should feel a certain way about the royal family just because they're black or a certain race, but just find it interesting that again, we're not from England. Most of us have never been to England. Most of us will never even go to England. But yeah, there was still that connection, even as faint as it may have been, enough to where I'm gonna make this post about Queen Elizabeth, R.I.P. Or in the case of some people, making her like the profile pic on their social media page, be it Instagram or Facebook. Now, I do want to point out, I'm gonna throw it back to you. There are some individuals that do feel that somewhat connection here in this country because they do, even though they're U.S. citizens, they have that close family history of being from England. Like one of my friends, Amy, was telling me and I remember her telling me this before, that a lot of her roots are actually from England. She actually has two active cousins who are there now. Grandma's from there. Mom's, has history there as well. So there are people that have that true connection to the country. So they might feel a more certain way about it. Um, but again, those are the people that feel that strong connection. But there are people that recognize the royal family for what they are, and they didn't have so great a post to mention about that. So, but what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's an interesting angle. People that may feel some sort of kinship to Great Britain. I think a lot of this is just, because of the figure that it was, and because we're talking about, almost like a relic, you know, of the past. Because we're talking about a monarchy, but they don't have any actual power. They got a lot of money, but it's not like being prime minister. Um, I think I think a lot of this is just, and it's okay that it is happening. By the way, when you have a larger than life figure like the Queen of England, it's okay if people want to change their profile pic, or you know, I think when you feel like a lot of people are grieving, like it's okay that perhaps we want to feel connected to another part of the world, perhaps. Now, for those of us in here in the States, I don't feel like a lot changed for us. Like the it wasn't like if a head of state, if you will, like a prime minister or a president had passed away. And Queen Elizabeth had a full life, by the way. You know, name something she didn't do in this life. So, you know, I know with Prince Charles, now King Charles, taking over. I mean, that's that is a planned succession, if you will. I mean, there's always, depending on who takes over. There's always a second in command, third in command. Like there's a lines of succession, and this has been in the makings for years. I think perhaps that's one of the reasons why I'm not. I don't want to say emotionless. It's just like, hey, this is part of their transfer of power, if you will. I also think it's rather telling that, especially in the age of social media, that there was no way in hell that as soon as she passed away, that all of the detractors are going to bring up every chance they could, effectively, you know, the symbol of colonialism, right? All these places with the queen on their damn money, but the citizens don't look like like her. There was definitely going to be a reckoning. You're nodding your head. I assume you had something further.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to bring up what you just mentioned, so I'm glad you transitioned very nicely into that for me. So thank you. But yeah, so it kind of reminded me that there was a post that somebody made about this, saying that um, that black people posting "R.I.P. to the Queen" failed history class, uh, which initially I thought was kind of funny, but then I kind of realized, well, yeah, it's said jokingly, but it's somewhat true. Because even though obviously the United States gained their independence from England back in the 1700s, 1776, folks, learn it. But so the Queen was in reign starting back in 1952, before you and I were alive, well before. And the list of countries that had to fight to gain their independence from England since then is pretty long. I mean, the first one was Sudan back in 1956, and the most recent, I believe, it looks like Australia and New Zealand back in 1986. So now, obviously, their fight to get freedom probably was a little different than the United States, regards to maybe not have to go to war over it, um, but still, England had all that control over all these nations, and they all had to fight for it. So there is that, of course. The other thing that I saw out there that you know I'd actually kind of forgotten about until it was kind of brought up again. I don't remember any evidence towards this, or if it was just speculation. I didn't bother looking it up because, again, everything everything mentioned about it was brought up in meme form. So I kind of feel like, is it really that serious in regards to the fact that the Queen supposedly had Princess Diana murdered? Um, there were, yeah, exactly. That was the other detracting thing out there. Again, some of that may have been joking around because, again, everything that I saw brought it up was in meme form, but I do recall that being a thing way back when. So yeah, there are going to be those people that don't feel anything about not just the Queen or the royal family or England in general. They're just not going to care, and that is what it is. And they're allowed to have that opinion, provided they don't go on some type of English hate violent spree in this country. As long as they're not doing that. And this is the Calpart Bros encouraging everybody to not do that. Go ahead.
I I think you hit on something, Jason, which is important. The lines have been drawn kind of for the royal family since the days of Princess Diana. And as more information comes out about how there was definitely some beef between Princess Diana and Queen Elizabeth, and just the way she was out in public. And sure, you know, especially with Princess Diana, once divorcing from Charles, actually dating someone that wasn't white, and the fallout from the Meghan Markle business. Uh Man, like it
Quick
the,
shout out to Princess Diana for being the Kim K of England back in the day. So congrats to her.
yeah, Jason said that for all posterity. Anyways, um there's just a lot of royal family takes with regard to race that have just not aged well. And they're gonna have to reconcile that. Hell, maybe Charles can figure that out.
Well, maybe he can't figure it out, but he may just be a king loser, just like everybody else, maybe. So, uh, yeah, yeah, I do kind of think about how things would have played out if Diana was still alive, and she might be the one, you know, Queen Diana instead of Princess Diana. Because I think even back in the day, it was always talked about one day she will be on the throne. Not anymore. So, um, as much of a celebrity she was back then, imagine what she would be now 40-something years later, or 30 years later, or whatever. As
Oh,
the
she would have.
queen,
She would have
you know,
definitely did numbers on TikTok.
facts. And honestly, that may have helped the image of the royal family with having her still there. So who knows? I mean, she's backstage kicking it at Michael Jackson concerts, trying to get him to sing "Dirty Diana" at the concert, but he couldn't do it. Yeah, and Prince Charles getting all jealous, and she's like, he's walking over like, "What are y'all talking about?" And she's like, "Nothing," and walks away. So that shout out to Michael Jackson on that one, by the way. But yeah, but the main thing is, yes, that may have changed the reputation of the royal family if she was still alive and that not had, whatever happened would have happened. So, you know, but here we are. She's not alive, and here we go.
I think I think that's actually some of the context and the nuance of that contentious relationship. Anyway, it's like they, it's almost like they didn't get her, and in some ways they resented her because clearly she was like, "Well, I'm not falling in line with this game plan," but also they kind of needed her.
Reputation is important,
Yes, very true.
particularly when you're a leader of some kind, as we've learned from the leaders of our country politically. Reputation is important.
But yeah, I think there are very few what I would call middle of the road opinions. Like clearly, a lot of people had strong opinions when the Queen died, and when someone's in charge for 70 years, you should have strong opinions about when that person dies.
I will say that. I will say that. Yeah. I will say that. Make an impression, whether it be good or bad. There you go.
Yeah. So, all right. That concludes our segment on the life and the times of one Queen Elizabeth. Coming up next, we'll be talking about some of these MLB rule changes on Cal Park Pros.